Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me for another Joy of Needle Felting video. In this episode, we're going to be doing the heads, but first I want to show off the finished hoofs, completed hoofs, both of them fully painted and with a little hole to fit the legs in. Though one of them, well, both will need to be glued, one more so than the other. But I left them gray and cracked in some areas to show some details of the hoofs, because not all hoofs are perfect. But for today's episode, we will be using my favorite tool, the 8-pronged needle, this thing, you see it on screen. Oh, but to start a head, and this goes with any head in any animal you create. Well, mostly, unless you're not doing a human or animal-shaped head. But every head starts as a sphere. And the best way to do spheres, as I reposition this on the camera, is you get a good wad of wool. And you get it in between your hands. I didn't show this part on screen because I had to do this in the air. But you just roll it in your hands like you're rolling a snowball or rolling a meatball or any type of, like if you're rolling clay in your hands. And once you get it compact enough, you start needle felting it. The best tool to do a sphere, or mostly a sphere, definitely a sphere, is the 8-pronged needle holder. With all those needles, it goes a lot faster than using 1 to 3 needles. As you see, there are 3 needles on the Wool Buddy this episode. And that is important for later in this episode, you will see. But making a sphere is just like anything else. You just have to keep at it, and it's very important to keep rolling it like that so it continues to get shape. And the best way to keep doing it is with this multiple needle holder tool. It's very simple. It's just making a ball. That's all this is. And this is to make the head, the lion's head. The goat and dragon head were done off screen. I will say that now. Because both of those... Well, the goat head was not complicated at all. That was basically the lion head. Similar shape. Just a longer snout. And you see here, making the ball a little bigger now, because I'm comparing it off screen to the goat's head. The way you just make it bigger is you just get a wad of clay excuse me, my mind is on clay right now. The wad of wool and just start going to town with it. It's that simple. But the dragon's head was very complicated compared to the goat or lion head. It was triangular to get, especially the way you'll see at the end of the episode when I show it off. But I had to get that angular, almost crocodilian look that the dragon has. And it's best to go slow when making a ball, because if you go too fast, you will stab your fingers. As you may see later in this episode. Yes, I finally, after recording 3 episodes prior to this, I finally stabbed myself on camera. And I believe this is the first time I've stabbed myself in this whole project, even off screen. It hurts. Oh, it hurts. And we're doing a jump cut as the sphere gets more bouncy and larger. And I'm happy with the size of it. Now it comes for the snout. Or in this case, the mouth of the lion, as you can see, I point out. And to do that, it is literally the same exact way as you make the head. You just make a small ball. A smaller ball. And it gets complicated as you try to blend it in. That's where you have to add details to it. But remember, this is still just the core of the Chimera. This is the equivalent of making a canvas to make the detail on. But it doesn't hurt to have a little detail in the canvas to begin with. Or in this case, our core. Now, doing a smaller ball, you can't rely on the large 8-prong needle holder for that. You have to use the 1 needle to do this. And I always prefer I believe I'm using the largest needle? I can't tell. I might be using the medium needle. I think I'm using the medium needle here. But yeah, it's literally the same thing, just working with 1 needle. It takes a little longer than the head. The head was quick. The snout doesn't go as fast. And one good tip for making spheres when needle felting and making heads in general: start small and make your way up. Because you can always add more wool to it. You can't take it away. I mean, I'm sure there's ways, but without starting over or cutting away at your sculpture, it's best to just start small and work your way up to the size you want. Of course, you could get lucky and just grab enough wool to begin with, and it's the perfect size. That's what happened with the dragon head. Perfect size. And I take it to compare the snout to the lion's snout. Mouth? Would you call that a snout? I'm not sure. But here we are adding it. It's the right size. I'm relatively happy with it. Now you just gotta add it to the head now. I mean, it looks a little cartoonish, a little silly to begin with. But you'll see as I start stabbing it down. Now, this is important right here. It looks like it's standing out a bit too far. And if that happens, the best way to do it is needle felt directly into it. The more you needle felt, the smaller it will get. That's a thing everyone should remember if you ever try to do this. Start small. Go big. And if it is too big, you can just keep needle felting it until it gets to a certain size. But it's only going to reduce it a few millimeters or so. So it's best to just get it right. And I added a little tiny detail about where I'm going to put the yarn or ink, maybe? I'm not sure. But I'm happy with the head at this point. And now we need the neck. And the neck is... Oh, wait, I'm still blending. I thought I was going to be doing the neck. Oh, this is where I stabbed myself. Yep, I'm bleeding. Oh, and a quick few minutes to heal myself after. And I blended it all off screen. Because... it's literally just putting a wool around it and just felting it into place. But here we come making the neck. A neck for any animal is relatively simple, if you think about it, because all you gotta do is make a marshmallow shape. As silly as that sounds, it is just a marshmallow shape. And for the lion, it has to be the smallest of the 3 marshmallows. The goat got an actual marshmallow-shaped neck. The dragon got a longer marshmallow-shaped neck because it's more serpentine. And the lion gets a small marshmallow because it's close to the head has to be closer to the body. And this is where you see me using all 3 needles at once. Because this, as awkward as it is to hold, it felt fast. Because you have all 3 sizes working at once, small, medium, and large. And be very careful because they spread out. And when they spread out, you're more likely to get stabbed. But I check it, I roll it, I compare it. That's the best thing you gotta do. If you're doing these, you gotta have references. And using a previous model, a previous made head, is great reference. And now, since it's pretty straightforward from this point on, I want to talk about the project going forward, because this will be the last core video. The core is finished as of now. And I know I always intended these videos to be like a follow-along kind of series. Like if you felt it along with me, you'd be able to kind of do it. But I also intended them to be similar to the Joy of Painting, where I got the name for the series from. Where instead of being copying what is happening on screen, you're learning the techniques instead and able to incorporate those techniques into your own artwork. I think that's what I want this to be. Like, I want to teach you how to do these things, but you don't specifically follow along. I mean, you can follow along. I think I'm doing enough so you can follow along. The basic idea. But things are going to be a little more complex, to say the least, coming up. I mean, I already crossed the line of complexity doing the 3D printed hoofs by hand, of course. I don't have a 3D printer yet. I think I might invest in a 3D printer. But I've decided to use faux snakeskin on this. And that's complicated. I've never done this before. It's a whim I had, an idea I had. And I want to see it to fruition. It will be a lot easier to add faux snakeskin for the dragon parts than it would be to needle felt each individual scale. So yeah, it's something to look forward to. It's going to be fun. And there may be a pause between episodes, because there is a lot I have to do between now and the next time I record, or next time I even work on the Chimera. Because I have to fabricate a lot of parts. I have to do the front claws still. I have to do the goat's horns, the dragon's spikes, the wings, the tail. And I have to paint the faux leather so it's green. Because right now it's a beautiful amber brown shade. Which is a shame I have to paint it, but I want it to be like an emerald green for the Chimera. But we are getting to the point where I'm very happy with the shape of this marshmallow. And I'm just felting in the sides to round it out so it's not all sticking out like this. There is no better feeling than watching a project come to fruition. And when you have a core finished, there is nothing better than that. And since everything is almost to the point where it's ready, all I have to do is shrink down these marshmallows a bit. But it's time for a test fitting, to make sure all the parts line up, to make sure everything looks good together. And that's what we have right here. The Chimera put together. As you can see, there is the dragon's head, looking derpy as ever. I have to make teeth for it. There's the goat head and the lion head in the center. It looks like a dysfunctional Cerberus. But it's my Chimera. Boy, am I proud of it. But I'm sorry to say this will be the last episode for a while. It's going to take me a while to fabricate and get all the extra bits and bobs ready for the Chimera and ready for coloring. I'm very proud of those. For my first time using a 3D pen, I'm very proud of those. But yeah, this is going to be good. I can't wait to start putting color on this. I'm really, really excited to start putting color on this. My Chimera. One of my favorite mythical creatures. And it's big. I dare say it's the biggest one I've done yet. But that will do it for this episode of Joy of Needle Felting. As I said, there's going to be a pause in between episodes. I gotta get a lot of stuff done for this next process. I have to card yarn into wool, if that makes sense. I will have a video for that soon. I want to have a video on that specifically. It'll be like a short video, like those YouTube shorts kind of things that are popular right now. I'll have something similar to that for needle felting. How I turn yarn into wool. And I want to use... I remember I started this whole series, I want to do something easy that everyone can follow, and here I am. 3D printing stuff, carving foam, making wings out of a fabric, and having to do ladder stitching and whip stitching. This has turned from a needle felting sculpture into an art doll. And I think I want to do more art dolls in the future. But that will be it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, share it around. Check out the links down in the description below if you want to see more of my art. And be sure to follow me on Twitter to know when more of this is coming. But with all that said, this has been the Black Phoenix. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.